Hello everyone, and welcome to Canadian Crimes and Mysteries. Today's video features the story of two women whose lives were very different and whose chance encounter would end in tragedy. One woman would vanish into a busy downtown crowd, while the other would become the victim of an unprovoked attack. On December 11th, 2015, Rosemarie Janor left her place of employment and headed to the Path for an afternoon break. The Path, an underground pedestrian pathway located in downtown Toronto, is known for its numerous banks, retail stores, restaurants, and food courts, about 1,200 in total. Thousands of people use the Path on a daily basis, and Rosemarie would come face to face with another woman who also frequented that area of the city. Rosemarie was an ambitious young woman who had recently married that previous summer. Rosemarie and her husband Lenny Prasad moved into their new home not long after their wedding and were looking forward to starting their lives together and having a family. In addition to her having a close-knit family and a career that she loved, Rosemarie had other interests. She loved to dance and was a member of a dance company that specializes in Indian dance. Rosemarie had the reputation of being a very likable person and was described by friends and work colleagues as kind-hearted and friendly. Rosemarie attended York University, where she graduated with a degree in occupational therapy. After her graduation, Rosemarie eventually was hired by the MedCan Clinic in Toronto's downtown financial district. At MedCan, she worked her way up from the position of administrative assistant to coordinator. Rosemarie was an excellent employee who would go above and beyond for her clients. Management at MedCan described her as well-liked with a glowing personality. On December 11th, 2015, Rosemarie left the clinic in the early afternoon. She ventured from York and Adelaide streets, where the clinic is located, and then walked towards the Path. Rosemarie planned to go into Shoppers Drug Mart to buy body lotion for her husband. The nearest location was located in the Path. As she went into the store to do her shopping, she was on her phone talking to a friend. Rosemarie walked around the drugstore and eventually made her way to the cosmetics counter. Rohini Bisesar, the daughter of hard-working and ambitious immigrant parents, arrived in Canada from Guyana in 1980. Like her parents, Rohini was ambitious and believed that education and a strong work ethic were key components to living a successful and fulfilling life. Rohini attended Monarch Park Secondary School and graduated in 1993. Over the next few years, she would earn a total of 3 degrees from the University of Toronto and York University, including an MBA. Rohini was seen as an excellent student and highly intelligent. As such, she was able to obtain employment at York University, where she worked for 8 years. Her resume was described as impressive. Despite her ambitious drive and her academic success, Rohini was far from content in her personal life. As an adult woman, she was still under the thumb of her parents and still lived at home. According to a Toronto Life article written on April 16, 2016, Rohini felt controlled by her parents. They were described as being extremely religious and suffocating. Her father disapproved of her wearing makeup, and her mother would take money out of her bank account. Rohini eventually moved out of her parents' home and became involved in a serious relationship with a man named Jeffrey. Her private life and career now seemed to flourish. During the next couple of years, she worked as an intern at an investment firm and eventually gained employment as a research associate at another investment firm. At first, things seemed to go well in her new job. She appeared to handle the stress and the long hours associated with the financial industry. After a few months, however, Rohini's job performance began to decline drastically. She was unable to handle the workload and would call in sick on a regular basis. According to her former manager at the investment firm, she was emotionally fragile. Because of her inability to keep up with the demands of the job, Rohini was terminated from her position. Over the next couple of years, Rohini had difficulty finding work. Jeffrey, however, continued to support her in her quest for employment, and it was Rohini who encouraged him to further his education. Rohini eventually found work at a consulting firm, but again, she was unable to do the work at a satisfactory level. It is unclear if she quit or was fired. Rohini and Jeffrey continued to struggle financially, and in 2010, Rohini obtained a position with the firm GMP Securities in Toronto's financial district. At first, things went well. Then a series of events occurred that signaled that something was wrong with Rohini. Rohini began to struggle in her position at GMP. It became obvious to other employees that she was unable to handle the workload. She would criticize her superiors in front of other staff. She began to complain to Jeffrey about her work colleagues and believed that they were plotting against her. To protect herself, she felt that she needed a device to spy on other employees at GMP. She suggested to Jeffrey that she should buy a specially equipped keychain with a hidden camera to keep track of her computer and her other personal belongings at work. Because of her inability to keep up with the demands of her job, Rohini was terminated. Rohini began to exhibit breaks from reality, and her mental decline led to hoarding behavior. The apartment that she shared with Jeffrey became cluttered with leftover food, paper, and clothing, and things were getting worse. As written in Toronto Life, Rohini began asking Jeffrey if it was possible to control someone's thoughts with nanotechnology. Whose thoughts, she didn't say. Still unemployed, Rohini believed that she had difficulty finding a new job because the former supervisor was conspiring against her. Jeffrey began to distance himself from Rohini and ultimately decided to end the relationship. He moved out and gave Rohini his tax refund of $2,500. 6 months later, Rohini moved back home with her parents. Rohini's mental state began to decline drastically. While it is unclear whether or not her parents' strict control worsened her emotional instability, it certainly did not help. She was subjected to a curfew. If she did not return home on time, she would be locked out of the house. In time, however, her family realized that Rohini was in need of medical intervention. In March 2014, Rohini was taken to Toronto East General Hospital after she assaulted her mother. It was during her hospitalization that she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Her now ex-boyfriend Jeffrey visited her at the hospital and learned that Rohini had been suffering from auditory hallucinations since 2012. Hearing voices, or auditory hallucinations, as psychiatrists call them, is a common experience for people living with schizophrenia. In fact, it is so common that it is considered to be one of the principal indicators when considering a diagnosis. Voices are often one of the most difficult experiences to cope with, and sometimes they can lead to dangerous behavior. Sometimes the voices will give the person direct instructions. Psychiatrists call this command hallucinations. It is not uncommon for voices to act in this way. After her release from Toronto East General Hospital, things started to go well for Rohini. She had been prescribed antipsychotic medication, and her symptoms diminished. She also moved out of her parents' home and appeared to thrive both professionally and personally. After initially moving in with a relative in Woodbridge, a few kilometers outside of Toronto, she moved in with an aunt and was able to find employment with Kingsdale Shareholder Services, located in Toronto's financial district. Rohini began to complain about the side effects of her medication. She had been prescribed olanzapine, an antipsychotic drug that is used to treat symptoms of schizophrenia and bipolar disorders. Olanzapine can sometimes cause side effects such as dizziness, difficulty maintaining one's balance, depression, and difficulty walking. Serious side effects include seizures, changes in vision, and uncontrollable and unusual movements of the face or body. Because of side effects associated with the drug, in 2015, Rohini stopped taking her medication. Without the help of her medication, Rohini's symptoms returned. Her family tried to have her hospitalized. However, under Ontario's Mental Health Act, individuals who are not seen as a risk to themselves or others cannot be hospitalized without consent. There is no information as to whether or not Rohini's contract position at Kingsdale Shareholder Services was terminated. What is known is that she was essentially homeless by the fall of 2015. She would stay for short periods of time in the homes of acquaintances. She took daily walks around Toronto's financial district. She also frequented coffee shops and restaurants, usually carrying her own food. Despite the fact that she was in debt and homeless, Rohini frequented gyms where she would shower, dress, and put on her makeup. On December 11th, 2015, Rohini, dressed professionally in one of her 2 business suits with hair and makeup immaculately done, made her way to the path and into Shoppers Drug Mart. It was here that Rohini approached Rosemarie and, with knife in hand, stabbed Rosemarie in her heart. She then quietly left the store and later that evening sent the following email to an acquaintance. I need to speak to the top professionals in artificial intelligence, military, and government. I need to get to the bottom of something that has been quite disruptive. I told you the truth. I am a good person, if not the most good. Following the attack, Rosemarie was rushed to hospital and placed on life support. Surveillance cameras in the path captured the image of a woman fitting the description of Rosemarie's attacker. Also, Rohini sent an email to the newspaper, the National Post, describing what she had done. Something has been happening to me, and this is not my normal self, and I would like to know who and why this is happening. There is either a single person or more responsible, and who and why would be nice to know. I am sorry about the incidents. I felt the need to be extreme to see if it would work. I would normally not do such a thing. On December 15th, 2015, Rohini was arrested and charged with attempted murder and sent to Vanier Centre for Women in Milton, Ontario. Rosemarie succumbed to her injuries a few days later. Rohini was then charged with second-degree murder. The charges were then upgraded to first-degree murder. In December 2017, Rohini was found unfit to stand trial due to her mental state. During the court proceedings, a forensic psychiatrist described Rohini as deeply psychotic and delusional. She said she approached Janor without hesitation. The voice said, "If you mean to do it, she told Swayze. The voice and movements raised my hand, pushed forward. It was like the knife was sticking to my hand and couldn't be dropped." During the court proceedings, Rohini made statements that revealed the severity of her delusions and her mental state. "The reason I'm such a mess today," she told the jury, "is because there's evidence on my face." She pointed to a mass discoloration on her cheeks and forehead. She said someone had implanted a hard honeycomb structure beneath her skin. It smelled, she said, of chicken, then later fish, and finally of men's sperm. In December 2018, Rohini was found not criminally responsible due to a mental disorder and was ordered to be detained in custody at the secure wing of CAMH, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health. The court ruling was bittersweet for Rosemarie's family. Although they understood that Rohini was in need of medical treatment because of her mental illness, they believed that she should be held criminally responsible for her crime and incarcerated. In May 2021, Rohini was denied conditional release from CAMH. It was found that she is not yet ready to venture into the community without supervision. The Ontario Review Board, along with medical staff who are in charge of Rohini's treatment at CAMH, agreed that she must continue her treatment at the institution. I hope that you found this story as interesting as I did. I will be posting more videos about Canadian crimes and mysteries. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.